it's a working committee, and a lot of times people just have other issues. They have jobs, they have issues within their communities, in the Black or Hispanic community, and we just have the time where we can do this, and other people sometimes don't have that time. So when we always wonder why we can't bring aboard other people of color, I think that's always been just one of the things that I wish we could work on more in our community, and at least with that organization.
Okay, so then in closing, again, thank you, Michael. You've been a long-time friend. We don't see each other as much as we used to, but
it's been a long-time interview.
Right. Well, it actually went 5 minutes longer than I said. I said 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
We've gone 50 minutes, and I appreciate it. On behalf of the NABWT History Project and myself, thank you very much.
And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. This evening, we are interviewing Michael Ross for the NABWT History Project, and Michael has been a member of the local Milwaukee chapter for some time and has attended a number of conventions. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening.
This is for the History Project, and we have a series of 15 questions. You may go off the track if you want, adding additional comments wherever you feel appropriate. But we do have a script of 15 some questions, and like I say, you can expand upon them if you'd like, or add, or if you decide that something you're uncomfortable with, you can just say we won't request any further on that. Okay, with that, when did you first join the NABWT, or known as the National Association of Black and White Men Together?
I would think about my first experience with the NA would have been probably in 1985. I don't specifically remember. I think it might have been a Chicago regional or picnic or something of that nature. I got involved in Milwaukee, and we went down to partake in one of their events.
Is that the same time that you joined the National Association or a local chapter?
I think so.
Why did you join?
Because my significant other was very active in the organization and thought very high of the organization, and was committed to fostering the supporting environments that the organization fosters.
What chapters or chapter have you belonged to?
Milwaukee for sure. I think I had a dual membership in Chicago at one time. Maybe even Detroit. I'm not real sure about Detroit, but I know Chicago, and for sure Milwaukee.
Okay. What was your
a direct member to the NA.
Okay. What was your first BWT, MACT, or PACT meeting like?
I was excited. Being in a room with, at the time, I would say between 35 and 40 men, black men, white men, very attractive men, a lot of young men. At the time I was very young, and intelligent black men who were engaging in very thought-provoking conversations relative to things that we were experiencing as black gay men, things that we were experiencing as gay men who were black and who were involved with non-black men. It was very exciting. It was very, very rewarding to know that there were people all over the US of A and abroad who were experiencing very similar things and going through some of the same kinds of things that I was experiencing. And I met friends from all over the United States and networked with them, and I still network and via mail, Christmas cards, seeing people at conventions, workshops, regionals, etc., etc. I have an expanded family now.
What about your first national convention? When was that, and what do you recall of that?
I think it was 1986, and it too was very exciting. It was in New York, and all my life I'd heard New York, New York, New York, and we got to New York, and there were about between 350 and 500 people at the convention that I can recall, and there were just so many, again, very talented, very gifted, beautiful black men and beautiful white men and other men, Asians and Indians, but the organization has enabled me and allowed me to do extensive traveling with and without the group, but primarily because we were trying to sojourn to the various events. But New York was exciting. It was wonderful. They had a huge parade. The entire week was fun-filled, and it was just, I could never ever express how wonderful it was and how much fun I had. And at that point, I was hooked. At this time, Milwaukee had a very active chapter. We had between 40 and 50 really active members, I would say, and we were involved in community events and assisting to organize our local gay community, in being very present in the community and letting the other people in our community, the heterosexuals and homosexuals, know that Milwaukee's chapter of BWMT was a force to be reckoned with. And at that time, we were very, very political, and that has since changed. We were very determined, and we were focused, and unfortunately I don't think we have a focus now. Basically it's just a support group and people who just like to entertain and party and just get together and be supportive of each other. But back then we were very, very, very political.
Getting back to the national conventions of the black and white men together, do you recall any personalities that you met at one of the first conventions or some of the other conventions?
Oh yes, I met several personalities at all of the conventions, but to recall some of the people who have influenced me and continue to influence me were Bayard Rustin, Dr. John Bush, Charles Bennett Brack, just lots and lots of people. I mean, I was very, very blessed to have known people like Ken Peters and Alan Hess, Mike Lisoswski, just almost everybody, all of the board, the board members at the time, Michael Smith, and more than that, I mean, right now you put me on the spot and I'm supposed to call all these names out, but there were people that impressed me. I was young and impressionable, but they were the right people. They were your elite, and not just because they were educated or because they were intelligent, but because they were proud black gay men who showed me that I could be who I was and be very proud of who I was, because I wasn't the only one. And like I said, Dr. Bush is like a sister to me, a mother to me. I mean, I love to just hear his name, or whenever I'm in his presence, it's like, I don't know how other people feel about being in the church and carrying on, but you get a special feeling being involved in the church and in the choir, or doing the ushering or whatever. And whenever I'm around, particularly at this point, Dr. Bush, I have that same feeling. He's been very, very influential in my life.
Okay. We talked about that the first convention you attended was New York in '86. How many other conventions have you attended? Do you remember what cities? And
I don't remember. Every one I could get to, I went to. I remember going to Chicago to regionals. I remember going to Detroit. I remember doing Sagatuck. I remember going down to Cleveland. And the years, they all run into each other with me. I remember going to, I said Detroit, Dallas, New York, of course, was my first experience. Philadelphia.
Key West?
Oh yeah, Key West, of course, when you tried to kill me by driving my car off the road and flipping it over 3 times, but we made it. We made it to Key West. And made it back. But, and Key West was very different. Key West was very different because there wasn't a chapter in Key West, and I'm not sure who all was involved in planning and going down to do whatever it was they did, but it was a very exciting, very rewarding and challenging place to be at the time. It was summer and it was beautiful, and our organization was there, and we took over the entire city. And it's like that everywhere we go. Whatever city we go to, we just take it over. We take it over, and we go in, and wherever we go, a group of us will get together and go walking, and it doesn't matter whether we're in gay places or gay-friendly places. We're just, everybody knows we're there. And I don't recall anything unfortunate happening to anybody at any of the conventions that I've attended. And of course we had Convention 87 right here in lovely Milwaukee. And I was very active. I was on one of the steering committees, and I was in charge of our famous or infamous talent show at Club 219, which is a very popular, or at the time a very popular nightclub and a venue for female impersonation here in Milwaukee. And it was one of the best that we've ever had.
What caused you to attend conventions? Was there any specific reason why you?
Well, like I said, I'm involved in a relationship now for almost 17 years, and my significant other was very active in the organization, and I mean, he feels very strong about the organization. So I mean, it was for a long time, it was our primary vacation each year. Now, because of conflicting careers and change in careers and in the recent past, I've been unable to attend some of the conventions, but he continues to go.
How did it make you feel to be at a convention with several hundred gay men that were also interracial?
Oh, I was thrilled. I was very, I can only say that it was so exciting for me to be in the presence of that many men again, beautiful, talented, young, old, gifted men who were all proud and all gay. But again, just knowing that I had that many brothers somewhere else in the world who had the same needs, the same feelings, the same expressions that I was having. And convention has always been just, I mean, it's like going home. No matter where it is, it's like going home.
Have you noticed over time, has there been a change in conventions? Now, you went, the first one in 1986, the last one was in 1999 in Philadelphia, so there's 13 years in between. Have you noticed a difference between the conventions, the feeling, the camaraderie, or the attitudes?
I don't think the feeling has changed at all. That for sure. I mean, everybody has always been friendly, always been very open and honest and accepting and loving, sharing. I mean, we look out for each other. A lot of times you don't really know people. You are aware of their presence at the convention and you realize that, oh, he's with us. So if he's a little tipsy, or, you know, he's down at the bar and, you know, he ran out of money or whatever, you know, you look out for them because, of course, he's with us. And it's like a fraternity to me. I mean, I feel equally as close, if not closer, to the NA as I do to my fraternity brothers. I mean, I just do. It's that is my family. So, and difference, I mean, the numbers have dwindled, but the love is still there. People are still committed. People are still doing the work. And I know sometimes it appears as if less is being accomplished, but remember, sometimes less is more.
That was an interesting comment because we had a national co-chair who had that as his campaign slogan.
Yes. Again, that's another brother who has been very, very, very influential in my life. Watching him live has given me the strength to live. Watching people, oh God, if I had everybody's name in front of me, I could say, you know, but they know who they are. All my sisters and brothers, they know who they are. They know who they are. Miss Robert, Miss Michael, Miss No Rent, Miss Low Rent, Miss Slow Rent. All the Rent sisters, you know, those girls. We just, as the Sister Slayer said, we are family. I mean, to me, that is our slogan. We are family. But yes, we have our national song that Dr. Bush and I sing every time we get together, and we try very hard to get everybody to sing it with us. And I think that it says more about our organization than we ever could, because that's who we are. We are brothers, we are sisters, and we have the right to be.
What projects have you been involved in the NABWT or other organizations similar to it? Have you, and why were you involved?
Oh God, you know, I have early onset Alzheimer's, but I was involved in when the National Association had the National AIDS Task Force. Reggie and Gavin came. Well, Gavin called and said, "Girlfriend, I need you to do such and such a song." So I said, "Girl, ain't no problem." And he came down to Milwaukee, and I got a group of, I'd say maybe 35, 40 black men together, and he did a seminar and a demonstration, and I was involved in an organization with black men and women called Club Muse, and Club Muse co-sponsored along with the NA, and it was a lovely gathering. As I was told, one of the finer ones that they had, but of course we all know We always do the finer things. But I was involved with that. Again, I was involved with 87's talent show with the committee. I've been on different committees who brought regionals here, and we assisted with travel and housing, and I was a member of a television show, a local television show here in Milwaukee. It was called Tri-Cable. It was a gay program. Another former member of our organization, Mark Bihar, was one of the executive producers. And I was on air talent, both in my persona as Echo Chambers and as Michael. But there's been a lot of stuff that I've been involved in. I mean, I was probably one of the first black gay men I was the first black gay man who was on Milwaukee's Saturday Softball Beer League on a team for Lacage, which up until that point had been a very, 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 very bigoted and racist environment. And I broke that barrier. I usually do break up things. But we tore that one right down. And
weren't you also part of the police training for diversity training in the city of Milwaukee?
Yes, I was one of the trainers for Milwaukee's. It was another organization that I belonged to, and here in the city. And yes, we train police and firemen in gay and lesbian sensitivity, and we do the entire program, and this is a part of their curriculum in order for them to graduate. So they seek us out, and yes, I was one of the first black men who was involved in that program. Yes, that is true. And so many other things, but like I said, early Alzheimer's.
What have been some of the most memorable moments for you in this organization? And when I say this organization, it could be your local chapter.
I'm glad you said memorial, because the most memorable things that have happened to me at any of this organization's events are the Black Caucus. Those have always been, that has always been so very, very special to me from the onset. In New York, I did an African dance class. I had an hour of in the middle of the quadrangle, and there were about 25 guys out there, black and white, learning the finer techniques of African and Caribbean dance. That was a very memorable time for me. Also, the memorial services that we've had and continue to have since AIDS has been such a devastating part of our organization, both our past, our present, and unfortunately our future. But the memorial services that we have to remember them, those have always been very special. Those have always been very memorable. And every year it just gets better. And you think people will say, oh, you're just mourning and you're grieving, and why don't you get over it? But it's not mourning and it's not grieving, it's remembering. And so what if people grieve? You need to grieve in order to move on. And each time we do it, unfortunately, the list gets longer. And you girls know this was not rehearsed, so had it been, it would have been much better. Spur of the moment.
We know that you had been a co-chair of the Milwaukee chapter for a number of years.
Seems
And-
like forever.
And it seems like you received a number of national awards at convention, and I know that you also received the Pascavis Award at the Milwaukee when they hosted a regional. Anything special about any of those awards, or?
All of them are special. Each of them is special. Very special, because people don't give you things that you don't deserve. And a lot of times people don't give you things that you do deserve. However, the Pascavis Award is very dear to me because it was, again, in memoriam to a very dear friend, former Milwaukee member, Delbert Pascavis, who passed on shortly after the LA convention. I think that must have been in 84, 5, who knows, years. I couldn't tell you what year it is now, 1999 or is this 2000?
2.
Okay. You know, I couldn't tell you. Anyway, Del was a very dear little man, and he had so much fire. He could walk into a room and everybody knew he was there. He was full of joy and life, and he just exhibited so much love, and he was gregarious and caring and supportive, and he was all of the things that we tried to embody into his award. And since then, we've tried to give that award to people that we thought carried some of. Now, we're not saying that the people that we gave the award to were exactly like Dale, because nobody is ever going to be exactly like Dale. But most of the people that we chose to bestow that award on were very, very deserving, very, in their own way, had that fire. It might not be the exact same spark, but they had the fire. And that's what it takes in this organization. We need people with fire. And not everybody can be a Dr. John Bush, and not everybody can be an Echo Chambers. But some people just have to be who they are, and just by being who they are, that's enough.
How has being a member of this organization, either the national or your local, affected or changed your life?
Oh, well, for sure, it's changed and affected my life in a number of ways. First of all, I've met several hundred people that I consider very dear friends and family. And these people can, whenever I see them, and it's like maybe I don't see them every year because I don't go to convention every year. But when I do see them, it's like I just saw them yesterday. We have that same, the love is still there, the respect is still there, the camaraderie is still there. There's something about being a part of this organization that no matter where you go, and it doesn't even have to be a convention time, because I've traveled abroad when it wasn't convention time to cities where there were members of the organization. For example, we went to, and I'm putting you on the spot, Matt, we went to Detroit, oh God, it must have been in 1988. I think it was 88. And it was just a weekend vacation. I can't remember if it was just a getting away. And I don't recall if we had called. I hope we